Yo, what is up guys? Ethan here, back with another video, and today we return with college football videos, as today we will be recapping week 12. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. And week 12, I thought I was going to chill, have a nice relaxed weekend, but no, college football is crazy 24/7. Well, another word for it is insanity, which is why it's the word of the week, but what a phenomenal week of college football. And even though there wasn't as many great games, the games just had crazy results and impacts that you probably wouldn't even imagined. So we're going to start off with a game that's with a player that's not even on thumbnail. Number 7 USC defeats number 16 UCLA 48-45. And both of these quarterbacks, and Caleb Williams and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, were phenomenal. The DTR's only issue was throwing picks because he had 3. But besides that, he was really good today. But Caleb Williams solidified himself, in my opinion, as the Heisman frontrunner after this game. After Georgia Tech beating North Carolina, we'll get to that game in a little bit. Drake May just fell out as the top tier Heisman guy, and now it's Caleb Williams. He had over 500 total yards in this game, and had like 3-4 touchdowns in this game as well. Phenomenal performance from Caleb Williams, and like I said, he is my Heisman frontrunner as of right now. And they have a true tough test next week versus Notre Dame at home. That game's going to be amazing to watch. That's going to be the first time in years since the Coliseum is going to be jam-packed. But USC, phenomenal game, and they control their own destiny in the Pac-12. Because if they beat Notre Dame next week and most likely beat Oregon, if not Oregon, it's probably going to be Utah, Washington in the Pac-12 championship, USC is most likely in the college football playoff. UCLA almost played devil's advocate in defeating USC, but like I said, UCLA looked great in this game. So for Bruins fans, don't knock yourself out. You're still a top 25 team after this great performance. A game I think nobody thought was going to be on upset alert. Maybe a few, but not up to this level. South Carolina defeats number 5 Tennessee 63-38. In the first 7-8 games in the SEC, Spencer Rattler has had 6-7 total touchdowns. He had 6 passing touchdowns today. I think nobody expected South Carolina to put up 63 in this game. Even the people at South Carolina didn't know. They ran out of fireworks for touchdowns. That's how many points and touchdowns as the Gamecocks offense scored last game. And this defense for Tennessee is awful. It's putrid. And I'm just going to compare it to Michigan State like last year. They have a top tier offense. Tennessee more passes. Michigan State last year was running. But the defenses for both of them absolutely sucked, especially the passing defense. The only time I've been somewhat impressed with this Tennessee defense thus far this season was that Kentucky game. But Tennessee looked awful today. South Carolina looked like a top 20 team, even though we all know they're not going to be. They could actually 100% be in the next top 25 with a 7-4 record. They struggled to score a few weeks ago at home versus Missouri, and now you dropped 63. Props for Shane Beamer, Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler had a career day. 438 passing yards and 6 passing touchdowns. He was 30 for 37. This is by far his best game of his collegiate career, and I'm going to assume he returns, and if he maintains this success, Spencer Rattler is on the rise, folks. But great win for this Gamecocks program, and Tennessee just eliminates himself from the college football playoff. TCU does what TCU does best and finds ways to win, as this week they miraculously defeated Baylor 29-28. And if you just watch this game, Baylor had control of the first 3 quarters, maybe even more of the fourth. But when it came down to clutch time, the defense stepped up and Max Duggan put this team on his back. The rushing call from Sonny Dykes is a little bit questionable, but the fact that they ran out that field goal team and made the game-winning field goal was absolutely insane. TCU is most likely going to defeat Iowa State at home next week, so their only true test is going to be in the Big 12 championship this upcoming week. Well, in the upcoming few weeks for them to lose, but TCU is in a great position to make the college football playoff now. And this is also a disappointing loss for Baylor. They go to 6-5. They've lost all the ranked games. They looked awful versus K-State last week. and then they barely lose to TCU. This is a heartbreaker for the Baylor Bears program. They're going to bounce back next year, but this is a tough loss for the Bears. Number 12, Oregon defeats number 10, Utah 20-17. And I, like an Oregon fan, I can just ramble about this game, but Bo Nix put the team on his back. He stated in press conferences after the game that he was hurting really bad throughout the majority of this game, but the main thing at Oregon is toughness, and you play through injury. And if it wasn't for his coaching staff and his teammates, he would have not played this game. But this was for the team, this was for his players, and he showed up big time. Even though the stats may not show it, the impact Bo Nix had on this game while only on one leg is insane. And Cam Rising looked absolutely awful today. 3 interceptions, 2 from Bennett Williams. Bennett Williams really did bounce back in this game. So Cam Rising looked awful. I'm surprised they didn't involve Tavion Thomas more in the rushing attack. But Oregon's defense stepped up big time, especially after that very bad loss versus Washington. And they're going to have a trap game next week at Oregon State. Number 2, Ohio State defeats Maryland 43-30, but this game was a lot closer than the score initiates. Ohio State was up by 10. They missed the extra point. It was blocked, returned from 2. That made them down by 10. Then Maryland scored a touchdown from Tagovailoa. And this Maryland team looked really good. Yeah, it was a heartbreaker. And this Ohio State team just struggles yet again on the road. But they always find ways to bounce back. That's the Buckeye way, it seems, thus far this year. And in my opinion, CJ Stroud should not win Heisman, especially after this game. Multiple teams have just exploited him and made him not look really good. So I just don't see a way on why CJ Stroud is the Heisman thus far this year. But Maryland showed out in a big way, but Ohio State survives on the road. Number 3, Michigan survives at home versus Illinois 19-17. And I knew this game was going to be close either way just because of both defenses being really good thus far this year. But Michigan, I'm not biased towards any of these teams, but it seemed a little rigged for both of these teams. Illinois had multiple chances to win. They didn't execute it. Michigan did as well. They didn't execute it. But that was an obvious hold on Michigan or pass interference. I forget it because there's so many crazy games today. But Michigan survives yet again. And as we head into the game next week, man, oh man, it's hate week. And whoever's going to lose this game, I think, if they lose badly, they're going to be immediately kicked out of the college football playoff. They would probably put Clemson over them, depending on what happens. But Michigan, their passing offense was not good at all today, but they survive at home. We're going to speed it up a little bit here. Arkansas defeats number 14, Ole Miss 42-27. Ole Miss, what happened? You were just great a few weeks ago. Then you lost a close game versus Bama last week. And now you just get destroyed versus Arkansas. What's happened? Is Lane Kiffin that focused on Auburn right now or something? At one point, the Arkansas was up 42-6. Rebels need to figure out something and figure out something quick because they did not look good at all. Arkansas makes themselves bowl eligible. Rocket Sanders was an absolute monster on the ground today. So give props to him. But Ole Miss needs to figure something out because they seem to lose all their mojo. Georgia Tech defeats number 13, North Carolina on the road 21-17. This officially eliminates UNC from the college football playoff even if they had a chance. And in my opinion, eliminates Drake May from winning the Heisman. North Carolina was up 17-0 in this game. And then the Yellow Jackets scored 21 unanswered in the second half. So give props to Brent Key and this Yellow Jackets team. In my personal opinion on what I've seen from Georgia Tech so far this year, they should give Key another year to see what he can do with this Yellow Jackets team. Because after you fire Jeff Collins, what he's done with this GT program is really impressing. Navy defeated number 20 UCF on the road 17-14 without completing a pass. Come on, Gus Malzahn, you gotta do better than that. UCF, I knew they're overrated in a way, but this is just plain out embarrassing. And they're definitely going to be kicked out of the top 25. Navy's looked good in the past few weeks. They kept it close versus Notre Dame. You go on the road, defeat number 20 UCF. Navy's looking a little bit better to end this year, but they really don't have anything to fight for as they do have 7 losses. But this is an awful loss for UCF, and this probably eliminates them from making the New Year's Six bowl game. Number 1, Georgia defeats Kentucky on the road 16-6. To be fair, I didn't really watch this game, but from what I understood, Kentucky just kept on shooting themselves in the foot. Georgia did have control of this game, but Kentucky had chances to make it closer. Again, you had interceptions, missed field goals, etc. This isn't the flashiest win for Georgia in any ways. Not even scoring 20 on Kentucky is kind of sad, I would say. But Georgia, they're just trying to beat Georgia Tech, and they're focusing on LSU in 2 weeks. Iowa defeats Minnesota on the road 13-10, as Iowa now has full control to make the Big Ten championship game. We could see a rematch of Iowa and Michigan, the game they had last year. But Iowa, they've stepped it up in the past few weeks. They looked really good. This offense looks a lot better. It's still not good by any means, but they had the worst offense in college football when this season started. But at least they have a average offense, I would say now. But for Minnesota, Mo Ibrahim went off 39 carries, 263 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. That was absolutely insane. And if it wasn't for like a Blake Corum or Bijan Robinson, Mo Ibrahim would probably be the Doak Walker front runner right now. So he led this Minnesota team to what he could. But Iowa's defense pulls away at the end and wins on the road and controls their destiny in the Big Ten. Boise State defeats Wyoming on the road 20-17 in one of the most wild finishes you would see this season. J.L. Skinner's on the thumbnail for a reason. 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter. And you're just going to have to watch like the final 3-4 minutes of this game on YouTube. It was absolutely insane. Boise State started the season 1-3. They've won 7-0 in conference play. And they've officially clinched the Mountain Division. So they will be in the Mountain West Championship game. So give props to Andy Avalos and this defense, because J.L. Skinner's a beast. And what he's done with this offense and defense over there for the Broncos is really impressive. And Wyoming, they kept it close in this game, but the quarterback sold at the end. Congrats to Boise State for winning this game. Oklahoma defeats Oklahoma State 28-13. Oklahoma State somehow was ranked again as they were number 22. Oklahoma State's overrated. I said it from the beginning of the season. I was like, maybe they're not. And then they lost to TCU. Then I was on the overrated train again. But this is embarrassing. Jeff Lebby almost sold this game too. Oklahoma State was up like 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. The offense did not score again. And Oklahoma State almost threw it 70 times. Yet they only had 13 points. So I didn't watch this game. I'm going to be honest with you. I was watching South Carolina, Tennessee, and USC, UCLA. But Oklahoma State, do not rank them for the remainder of the season. And the Sooners do clinch bowl eligibility with this game. So props to the Sooners. Staying in the Big 12, Texas defeated Kansas 55-14. Bijan Robinson's on the thumbnail for a reason. Had a career day, over 250 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, both career highs for him. And he's just single-handedly defeated this Kansas team. Jalen Daniels did return in this game for the Jayhawks, but Texas looked great. And if this Texas team showed up last week, they could 100% beaten TCU last week. The offense just came a week too late. Texas hosts Baylor next week. Louisville defeats number 24 NC State 25-10 without Malik Cunningham. This is not the best look for NC State. Vanderbilt defeats Florida 31-24, keeping their bowl eligibility hopes alive for Vandy. So big time win for Vanderbilt. This is the first time since 2013, if I'm not mistaken, that the Commodores have won back-to-back SEC games. Pitt defeats Duke 28-26. Virginia Tech surprisingly defeats Liberty in 23-22. And number 9, Clemson defeats Miami 40-10, as Miami didn't even have over 100 yards on the offensive side. And that is it for Week 12. What a crazy weekend of football. Next week, we all know it's going to be crazy. It's rivalry week. We have tons of potential college football playoff implications if a few teams lose. So be on the lookout, folks, because Week 13 is going to be crazy. So that is it for this video. Like, share, subscribe, push notifications on so you don't miss any of my videos. Look out for the predictions to be early this week as rivalry week truly starts on Thanksgiving with Ole Miss and Mississippi State. And yeah, and like always, folks, have a good day. Peace out.